Oh, I'm hungry. Oh, hey, you're rolling. Steaks, cigars, whiskey, fireworks. This is me. How's it going, everyone? We're back in the workshop here getting ready for the New Year's fireworks show. So we're going to give you guys a quick rundown of what we're working on, a little bit behind the scenes of how we get started building the show. Now, I already have the script printed out and done. It took me about 26 hours to do the script. This show is 9 positions, so I have the script broke down by each position. And then we also have cue labels here printed out. So we're gonna start prepping stuff, putting cue labels on everything. So starting over here, we got all the racks. Now there's, like I said, 9 positions. There is 30 shells are gonna fire from each position in the finale. They're gonna have 10-second fuse on them. We have lots of comets. Over 300 comets and mines are going in this show. So we have Craigco racks. I do have some more racks coming. This isn't quite all of them. So very excited to get to use these and do a lot with that. Now, the comets and mines that we're using, not all of them. We do have some of these that are coming from Spirit of 76, but a majority of these are all canister shell comets and mines. With that being said, that is why we have these milk crate racks. So I just use these milk crate racks just to store them because it stores these tubes nicely. So we are going to use these tubes, which come in previous kits that we have purchased, and they load perfectly in these Craigco racks. And that is how we are going to fire all the comets. So Craigco has this really nifty little design. You just pull on that right there and it loosens the entire row, and you can swivel it back and forth. They also have this little guy. And so let's say I want to shoot it at 20 degrees to the right. Well, I'm facing the right, and you just line this up at 20 degrees like that. And then you would set that like that. You put another one 60 feet away, and you will have this perfect arch at 20 degrees, and you can time your single shot shells like those big ones over there to break. So right as the point meets, the shell is breaking. You can do all sorts of options with that. I would say 98% of this show comes from Superior Fireworks and Spirit of 76. We do have a few of the Dominator Pro Line products, and we do have a couple of red apple things. There's a few comets left over, and then I do have some red apple cans. These have been in my stash for years. I love them. I've kind of just been hesitating to use them, and this is the last of that. So I would say at least 60-70% of this product came from Superior Fireworks. So whether that be their SFX line or something else that is a different brand, such as the Great American Fireworks or the Sound of Cannon by Supreme, they sell all of that product.
Now, I'm more interested in this one here. So who is this guy? Do you know him?
So, come on. You're one of my best buds. I couldn't have a show without some of your product in it. I needed some Willows. You had these. It's perfect. Come on, Cody B. How do you have a show without some Cody B stuff in it?
Aw.
So like I said, 9 positions. That does not mean all 9 positions fire simultaneously the entire show. Sometimes we're going to fire from 1 with comets, with cakes. Sometimes it's going to be from 3, 6, all 9 at times. It'll vary in between throughout the entire show. The show only lasts for about 5.5 minutes roughly. There's over 500 cues in the show. So like I said, never done a show with this many comets in mind. So looking forward to it. Hoping I did it right. Fingers crossed. There's a lot of time into this. This is a cake I want to point out. We have had issues with these kind of cakes in the past. So they give you this crappy little fuse and it never likes to light. So what we're going to do is we're going to run some quick fuse along here, along this fuse, and then put the igniter on it. But I have some leftover sticky match. I am going to line this entire thing on the top with sticky match and then duct tape over top of it to ensure that this goes. This is the opener of the show. So fingers crossed, I'm calling this one out. This is a maybe if it's going to fire, but really hoping it fires.
Now, I'm just noticing this stuff here that's kind of on these makeshift racks. Can you kind of explain to people that don't know what these are, exactly how they work, and where you're going to use them in the show?
Yeah, so these are fan slices. Now, something I want to point out. Typically, when you get things like fan slices and comets and mines, you have to have a 1-4 Pro license. One of the beautiful things, and I want to really shout out to them because nobody else have I found that does this really well like they do, is Superior Fireworks in Florida. They have canister shell comets and mines that can be purchased by everyday consumers. You have to have no licensing or anything to purchase those comets that are over there, or these slices. Now, these slices are super cool because you can ignite them on the right, left, or in the middle, and they fire just like a standard slice that you would see even in 1-3 shows. But they come with this base. Now, I am gonna not use this base personally. I have a different way that I'm gonna stabilize them. And with that being said, you can just pull on that, and then you can mount it in your slice rack if you have your own custom slice racks. Or you can use this on the 4th of July, just like so. It comes usually 3 of these in a case, and they're actually not terribly priced. So the other thing, you can purchase fan slices like these. Or they have these cakes at Spirit of 76 that's part of their pro line, and it says 20-shot fan blue with gold, silver, glitter, 3-layer mines. Now, these fire each row, and it acts like a slice, but it's in a cake. So what I'm gonna do in this show, these 3 cakes are all broke down into individual slices. So these will get taken apart and ignited either from the right or left or center, depending on how I want it to fire at what time of the show from different positions. It is a very cost-effective way to get fan slices. Now, maybe you don't have 10 shots, like this is a much larger fan slice, but these are 5 shots only, but you're still gonna get a great effect for a lot less cost than you would purchasing a single fan slice.
So among all of these single shots, I'm noticing you've got some brown ones here. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so in shipping, there was a case that got damaged, and the exterior of this Firework was damaged. And so I took it apart, and I just decided that I was going to use it as single shots. Now, it's not the most traditional thing, but I've seen a lot of guys do this with NOABs. It's literally the same thing as shooting one of these if you take a NOAB apart. No different. So I think this was Great American Celebration was the cake. If I remember correctly, it's red, white, blue peonies. So I'm shooting this actually with those fan slices over there. I set these all up so that way it was easier when I'm loading them. But doesn't that look awesome?
Yeah.
So speaking of cheap, cost-effective ways to save some money with a similar cell effect, just like in those cakes, turning those into slices, Spirit of 76 happens to have a 16-shot cake that is only comets. And they're green, purple, yellow, orange, whatever color you purchase. Now, I was 2 green comets short for a segment on one of these. And I was like, what am I gonna do? So I went to that cake, took it apart, and I have 2 little green comets. Now they're not quite as big, they're not gonna go quite as high, but they will work. But when you start purchasing these where they're $1 or $2 or $3 a piece, or some other comets, even like their Italian line for Spirit 76, I think can be up to $7 a hit. Taking a cake apart like this, if you have a low budget and you still wanna run comets, can come down to, 30 cents, 50 cents per comet. And so you could save a lot of money by doing this and not sacrificing a ton of quality. You sacrifice a little bit, but not a lot. You've seen people use pool noodles, I'm sure. If you purchase the Craigco racks, they come with this little foam piece. And if I can get that apart, you can put this in here like that, and that sits right in there. And it keeps it from wiggling around too much. You could even maybe put a little piece of cardboard in there. But it still works great, even in the Craigco rack. Getting into a little bit more depth on the 500-gram cakes. So you and I, on the show that we shot for the county fair this year, we had a lot of zippers in that show. And we ran like a cake over top of the zippers. This is probably the most zippers that I've ever shot in a show while simultaneously shooting multiple at a time. So all 4 of these Chaos Theories are gonna fire at one time from 4 different positions spread out with a cake in the center firing. And then you come to something like this electrical overload and these 300 shots. So the electrical overload are on the right and left. In the middle is this 300 shots. So you have right, left, and middle. So in between the middle and the right and the middle and the left, there is 2 500-gram cakes firing. One thing that I really do enjoy doing, and I don't get to do it all the time, or this show, there's only 2 or 3 segments where I do this in, but that is where I shoot a 200-gram cake that has a similar or complementary effect to a larger cake, such as a 500-gram cake or something like this NOAB. I absolutely love it because typically 500-gram cakes and NOABs have much more height than a 200-gram cake. You really get to fill the sky with that multiple level effect, and I feel like it just adds a lot to the show.
I agree with that.
When I build shows, I have a budget that I know I have in mind, and then once I have the product on hand, I will basically create an inventory list. And I go from the inventory list and I just sit down and I start looking at it, and I will start putting together what I call segments. And I have some scratch paper and I start jotting down, oh, this would look cool shooting with this or that. And that is how I start to build the shows. Now, when I say segments, it's easier to build the show in pieces in a sense and then put it together. So if you put a segment together that's really cool, but it doesn't have a lot of firepower, maybe you run that towards the beginning of the show. You might put a segment together that has a lot of firepower, and you're like, I'm gonna save that towards the end. So you can kind of see how you could build it in pieces like that. Now, one of the segments that we have in this show, to give you an example, is we have 2 of these extreme machines. They shoot in volleys of 6 with whistling up to crackle. One thing that is really cool about this cake is it's called Bring It Home. It has these really awesome crackle mines to a crackle break. But these only last 15 seconds, those last 25 seconds. So what are we gonna do about that? Well, over here, we have some of these awesome 62 millimeters silver to delayed crackle. So we're gonna launch these all from the center position, including the Bring It Homes, the Extreme Machine, and these. These will fire every 1 second. One of these will fire. That height thing we were talking about, these are gonna go way over top of those other cakes, even though they're 500-gram cakes. So we're gonna start out with the 2 Extreme Machines at the same exact time, 1 second apart, so you get a little bit of lift time difference, so they don't fire exactly the same. And then these will start firing. Now, from the right and left, if I remember correctly, there is gonna be kind of a V shape going off. A V on the right and a V on the left. That is a crackling willow. So it's gonna, like I said, when I talked about complementing things, it's going to complement it and look like the whole setup is spread out wider. And I'm only firing breaks from one side while using comets on the outside to expand the whole show. 10 seconds after these fire, because these last 25 seconds, we're gonna start this Bring It Home, and then 1 second later, start this Bring It Home. They all end at the same time. The comets will also end at the same time. And that is kind of how I break shows down into segments to build a show.
Now, the shoot site that this firework display is taking place at is not here, right? So how are we gonna get them to the place that they're being shot off at?
So they're not gonna be shot off here right outside of the shop, obviously, but it is very close by. Now, living in North Dakota, you never know if on New Year's it's gonna be 20 below, 30 below zero, or if it's gonna be 50 above. We've shot some shows that were beautiful out, and you could have hooked up 500 igniters, no problem. We've had shows that were rather miserable.
He's not wrong.
So this year, I'm not gonna chance it. I don't care if it's gonna be warm or cold. We're gonna set this show up inside. Now, what we're gonna do is we are gonna take like a pallet, 4x8 sheet, or I'll build my own pallet, however you wanna do it. And so you can pick it up with a skid steer. And these fireworks will all be mounted. We will liquid nail these. Another thing I want to bring up, actually. They come with this little piece of paper that's the bottom of the cake, right? Typically 500-gram cakes have this. So if you peel this off, it exposes a wooden board. Now, if you have a piece of plywood and liquid nails, and you put liquid nails on that wooden board and mount it to the plywood, this thing will never go anywhere, never tip. And it works fabulously. 200-gram cakes, not so much. They don't work to glue. You got to put a piece of wood, screw the wood to the board, and duct tape this to the wood. Works great. That thing will never tip. So what we're going to do is we're going to put these all on these pallets, that homemade pallets that we're going to make, and then transport them to the shoot site, which, like I said, is very close. So making the setup time on the day of, super simple and easy. I am in here with, if that was little me, this would be a dream, to be surrounded by all of these fireworks, right? Some of these huge single shots, we're talking 3-inch NOABs, right? And you want to know what the single-handedly most important thing in any pyro shop is, especially for me, because I absolutely can't live without it. You gotta have music. I would go absolutely insane sitting here in silence. We just have to shut it off to film this. Gotta have a good source of music to put this stuff together. So guys, we have a lot of prep work to do that has nothing to do with mounting these fireworks onto the pallets that we're gonna make. So when we get ready to put these pallets together, we'll get back to you. Until then, we're gonna fuse up some of these racks and start putting some of our angles together for these comets. All right, guys, so we are here in the shop, and we said we'd get back to you when we have everything on the pallet. So I'll give you a quick little scan of what we got, but I gotta get these things loaded up. I'm kind of in a hurry right now. Got a bunch of stuff I gotta do. We had a bunch of stuff that set us back on this show. I gotta get a flight out here at 3 a.m. for Christmas. So we will see you guys the day of the shoot, and when we have all these pallets out in the positions, we'll give you a walkthrough of it then. I told you we'd get back to you at the shoot site, right? So we're here at the shoot site. Now, probably asking what I'm doing. Well, I'm hungry. We've been working on this stuff all day. So you know what? We're done. I'm gonna enjoy myself, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. So, you might remember this site from the show, our most beautiful show we'd ever done this last summer. And this is the same spot, and the reason why we're doing it is I happen to be on the fair board. So we're able to do this in conjunction as a fundraiser for our county fair. So if you pan over here, as you can tell, this is by far the largest show we've ever done. It is 9 positions. They are 50 feet across. And over there is the actual finale, and we will get to that. Tonight, it's not just our New Year's Eve fireworks show. It is also a world record that Cody and I are attempting. If you're not subscribed to this channel, I don't know what you're doing, you should be. Let's get into a little bit of these positions right away. So not only is this our New Year's Eve show, but we also have a band that's setting up inside. We got some phenomenal food. A buddy of mine has a business, 307 Pit Fired Q, where he does custom catering for smoked food. Hence the reason I get a smoked steak, ribeye, courtesy of being friends with the chef. And so no, it should be a great fun night. We have tons of people coming for this event, and we are super excited to be here doing this right now. The show is set up from left to right, from the spectator's perspective, left to right. Now, this is position 1 of 9. And one of the unique things about this position versus some of the other positions is this rack is not full. That's because these 5 shells will fire and these 5 shells will fire. And that's all that's fine. That's a particular segment in the show. All right, here's position 2. Now, one thing I want to point out, when you're using comets and mines, like in a Credco rack, you set them to a certain degree to the right or left. Let's say it's 20 degrees to the right. If it is not level, it will not shoot right. It throws off your angles. So you have to level the entire pallet. Hence the reason it's sitting on part of a hill. This is 50 feet away from the next one. We had to do this in order to level this pallet. Something to remember when you're doing your shows like this. Ran a little short of firing system. So these are going to be hand lit to add us a little bit of duration in the show. And then we're going to go into the 9 positions that are fired electronically. What is fired electronically is about 5 minutes, and this should last about 5 minutes, making about a 10 to an 11 minute show. So we are here at position 3. Always got to have a water bottle, guys. That's a must. Here at position 3, it's a NOAB. Some other cakes that you have not seen at the other positions. That's because every single position is not identical. Position 4. One of the things that I want to point out in this position is the fan slices. I need to get slice racks so I don't have to do this. They will work fine and fire fine. One thing you always need to do, anytime you have something that is angled, you have to make sure that the angles are not going to hit. So we have checked, this is not going to hit that rack. And same with this Chaos Series, not going to hit any of these tubes. Be very wary of that when you mount stuff onto a board like this. I've had it with this fork. Anyway. We are here at the middle position. This is the largest position. This is where a lot of the fireworks will be firing from. I basically built this pallet myself with 2 4x8 sheets of plywood. I'm not so sure I would recommend doing it how I did it. I think you could do this again, but not sure how I would do it. But this did not work. It almost broke when we set it on the ground. So when I said this is the middle position, it is so important. And I messed this up one time. I did a 6 position show, and I found out that it was difficult to do because there was never a middle. So I recommend odd numbers, 3, 5, 9, like this, because sometimes if you have, let's say you want to shoot a comet from the 2 positions to the right of this and 2 positions to the left of this with 1 in the center, you can't do that if you have 6, because where's the middle? So you got to leave 1 position out, and it just seems odd. So definitely always, I personally recommend scripting shows with an odd number. So we're here at position 6. Now you can see something that we did here with the modules. So everything is hooked up and the modules are pulled off to the side off the pallet. I would not recommend putting them on the pallet because sometimes these fireworks can catch on fire and then the pallet would burn. If this pallet burns, fine, I can lose the racks, whatever. I would rather not lose the modules. So now we are here at position 7. Now, one thing with hooking up these modules this way that I would recommend doing, that I have learned to do, is this firework, let's say, hooks up to this module, right? And one of these fireworks over here hooks up to this module. So what I do is I hook up the furthest away firework first, drag it out, and then the shorter one. So then you can take the excess, kind of crinkle it up, and neatly zip tie it. You never want wires going everywhere. It's just a chance for something to get caught on something, trip on. The neater the better is definitely advised when hooking up wires. So we're coming up to position 8 here. As you can tell, position 2 and position 8 mirror each other, identical. Now, these are definitely the 2 other largest positions, position 2 and 8, aside from the middle position that the most fireworks fire from. Now, this is one that we had to replace because we had a bad igniter, but this is exactly why you don't want wires laying around. If this was actually hooked up, if this went off, it would take out your next firework. On position 8 and position 2, there are 2 special fireworks. There happens to be a guy that I know pretty well. He's pretty cool. His name's Cody B Pyrotechnics, and he has his own firework line with Dominator Fireworks, and he has produced some of his own fireworks. We are shooting those. This is the first time I have ever shot any of Cody B's fireworks in one of my shows. Believe that or not. We have 2 of them right there. And he's a pretty positive guy after all, too.
Thank you.
This is the 9th position, and if you look up over there, that's the finale. But before we get up to there, hey, just a shout out, man. These two gentlemen behind me, I don't know what I would have done without them. They really helped save the show, man. We had some stuff come up, some igniters that didn't come in time, and some other things that I almost thought we were gonna have to cancel this show. And I was having a really bad day, and Ben showed up, said hi and stuff, and next thing I know, he had some people coming in to help, and really, thank you guys. You guys really saved this show. All right, guys, so this is the stuff that was over there earlier that I said is the hand fire. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different cakes in 2 racks. Now over there, we have the same amount. 5 cakes over there, 5 cakes over here, 2 racks over there, 2 racks over here. They are gonna be fired simultaneously. So Ben's gonna light one, Brandon's gonna light the other. We're gonna have the remote. When this is done, we are gonna fire what is behind us on those 9 positions. Obviously, we have just kind of a duration cake on the front, buying us a little time. These are kind of duration cakes, but these are very good, you know, large shot count, large break cakes. We get into some little bigger. This one's really heavy. Obviously, Wacky Tobacco, one of the greatest all time no-abs ever. And here we have some ring canister shells. There's 20 of them. And then here we have some of the Master 100s. Literally, probably some of the best canister shells ever made. Here in the middle, we have 2 big boy cakes. One, Golden Peacock, personally one of my favorite zippers to ever be made. And this will be fired first and by itself. After that one, we will come into Generation X. This is a 260 shot beast of a cake. This is all actual breaks. This is not a zipper cake. So super stoked to see this one. This will fire by itself. And then we go into firing the 2 identical cakes in each row simultaneously. So I just want to say, even though I needed gloves, so thankful that this year it is nice weather out. It got to 32 degrees today. It's probably about 20, mid-20s right now. Beautiful weather compared to in the past. Super thankful for that. Now, over here, you guys are not going to believe what we have for a finale this year. Take a look at this. 5,000 canister shells will go up in under 2 minutes for a finale. Let's hear something for this. I mean, come on, it's 5,000 of them. Woo! So if you guys remember in the past, we have done 2,000 canister shells, and I thought that took me a long time. This took us over 3 months to fuse all of these up. Now we fused them all up and then put them in the racks. We basically built the chain, put them in the racks. And I tell you what, it was a lot of work, but I think it's gonna be worth every bit to see something this epic. It's worth every hour we put into this thing. Cannot wait to see this. So guys, that is the show. I hope you guys enjoy the heck out of this. Please leave a like and subscribe. Go subscribe to Cody's channel if you haven't. Subscribe to mine. It helps us keep creating content like this. We're excited to shoot this. I can absolutely not wait. So we're walking to interview 2 of my buddies that actually help put the show on. They help me all the time, right? But we gotta be careful with them because I call them buddies, but with friends like that, we're just dickheads to each other. So let's see if they can actually not be a dickhead to me for like 5 minutes. But I'm really doubting it. I guarantee you they throw me under.
It didn't even a second. It didn't even last a second.
I didn't even get to the interview with these guys. This is the largest position. So I think Ben should be at this one. And Brandon should be at the smallest one over here.
Fine.
I think it's the other way around, bud.
The thing that I find different about this show is just the sheer size of it. I mean, we are taking up over 400 feet in just these 9 positions alone, not even including the massive finale over there that takes up the entire arena.
When it takes 2 trailers, a gooseneck, a skid steer to move fireworks around. And the shows we've done in Montana, you know, it's kind of been onesie-twosies, but this show puts a whole different precedence against it. Hell, we're trying to shoot 5,000 canister shells plus another show. So we're doing 2 shows in one.
What we kind of found a little bit annoying is the igniter wires didn't show up, so we had to create a whole bunch of igniter wires. Over 300 wire igniters we had to put together all by hand, so that was kind of annoying.
Yeah, you want to talk about some 3 grown-ass men bitching all the time. And raw fingertips.
Ow, my fingers hurt. Ow, my fingers hurt.
It sound like a bunch of kids, but you know, at the end of the day, we are a bunch of kids at heart. Just to put it in perspective, I'd say the hardest thing about this show was just the sheer magnitude and the short amount of time that we had to get it together and put together. And the fact that we had close to 6 people to 7 people at times to work on and put it together, that what I say was most difficult. And with the holidays coming up and everybody doing that, I'd say we all banded together pretty well because Garrison was pretty lost. when I walked in the week before Christmas, and he's like, well, the igniters didn't show. What are we going to do? Well, I guess, boys, we're going to rally on this. So for me, I'd say that was probably the most challenging. The more and more experience that we have with the shows, the easier it is to actually lay them out. And Garrison's actually not half bad at doing scripting now. So it makes it a little easier on us. That's for sure.
You guys were here a couple years ago. You guys have been here for every New Year's pretty much. But a couple years ago it was 20 plus below zero. We were on Main Street of Mott and we were on that ridge. And it was super cold. And I know at some point there have been times, whether it was me getting shows ready Montana or other times, you guys have probably questioned being my friend or even being a part of these shows. And what has it meant to you? Like, do you guys still want to keep doing this? Like, is this love for these shows growing the more time you guys spend with it? How much more do you guys actually think we can do with this? I mean, we're doing 5,000 canister shells over there for a finale.
As far as that show a couple of years ago, I don't think I've ever been so cold in my entire life as when we were setting that show up. I mean, we had to take a sled and pull the fireworks on a sled through the snow, about 40 below zero, and the wind was blowing about 20 miles an hour. As far as these different shows that I've helped do, it's just kind of cool to see the different products that Garrison and Cody get out here, and how they're able to make them work in different ways. No show is the same. I've loved fireworks my entire life, and being able to see them in like a professional setting has really been like a childhood dream of mine, just to see professional fireworks done on this scale.
Are you calling Garrison a professional?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, man.
I guess we have to give him a little bit of credit. He did take us to Montana.
Yeah. That year that we did that, it's got to be the one time I really questioned why I love fireworks. Why am I here? I wouldn't say it was Garrison. It was probably Brandon. He was calling and crying. So I went out to help, and yeah, we froze. I mean, it gets to the point when your chest under coveralls, long johns, and your chest is cold, and it takes 20 minutes to warm up in a shower after the fact, and then you still have the chills. That's a new meaning of cold. But at the end of the day, seeing the fact of what has grown and changed between the fireworks from downtown to that little bit that we did on the ridge to what they used to be on Main Street from the first show that he did to what it is becoming, that definitely, this one takes the cake. But as we evolve and we get better with doing with the Cobras and the ability to do the wiring and firing from a distance, safety is number one with the larger shows. Number two is the longer we do it, the better we get at it and the safer we can be at it. And I just, it's 30 degrees today. This was a cakewalk, guys. It's December 30th. The amount of fireworks and products and companies like Dominator being willing to donate the show and help out and see this grow has been absolutely kind of thrilling. And yeah, we could get bigger. We could always go bigger. It's one of those things is you dream it, hell, why not build it?
It was mentioned earlier how we had some stuff come up that did not go in our favor. And like I said, having friends to come together to help pull this thing to it shooting today like it is means a lot to me. We had some fun times. It was late, and when it's late and you're tired and everybody's working, you've worked all day. I was working on the show throughout the day. Cody, you were there with me. And then these guys go to work all day, and then they show up after 5 o'clock, and they come help us till midnight, 1 in the morning, literally. And, it's 10, 11 o'clock at night, and you got this big guy chucking boxes of the 5,000 cans over to the loading table. And Brandon's catching them and stuff, and you just look at it and you're like, God, the heart and the drive that these guys put into this stuff with us and that you guys get to enjoy because of the nights we spent till 1 in the morning, the grit, to load this stuff up and get this stuff prepped and doing wires. And when we got the 5,000 cans all loaded, it was 12 o'clock. And I remember we walked over and started splicing and extending igniters. And I think we extended igniters till 1:30 in the morning that morning. So, just to have that drive to get done doing something that was extremely physical, we were beat, we were tired, we were done. And to just say, okay, let's keep going and go do something else again. really says a lot about these guys and the people and Cody for all of us to put this together. I think it was really cool, really fun. So with that being said, guys, I think we're gonna get back to you at shoot time. Thank you guys, this is awesome. Can't wait to see this. Glad I get to share this with you guys. Cody, behind the camera, thank you for being here. Thank you for all the help with this. Would not want to do this with any other people or any other place. I love it here. This town, living here, getting to do all these shows here. We did the 30,000 Saturn missiles in Mott. I met you in Mott, Cody. So happy to get to be doing this here on New Year's with all these people. Thank you guys for watching. We'll get back to you at shoot time.
All right, well, here goes like one firework. So that's what like one firework looks like. Here goes another firework, just one though. This is all still the same cake. That's one cake. Oh, there we go.
Those are flash broken too.
Yeah, I'm glad I got this one.
Yeah. Firework is awesome.
Yeah. Here goes two of the 1 minute rides. So this is what happens when you light two fireworks at the same time. There we go. Now we got the other one on the right. Okay, so I'm not noticing any black hole anomalies, nothing like that. It looks like it would be pretty safe to do this sort of thing in your 4th of July show. I was pretty confident that a seismograph was going to pick this up in Mexico and there'd be a major earthquake up in here, but guess not. Yep. Woo! All right, meat and potatoes ×2. This should be a good one. It's kind of mine. This is actually really tough to film.
No, this takes a while.
Yeah. Whoa. That was impressive. 63 shot Dominator times 2.
I like the color on that kid.
That's cool.
Hey, your camera fell over.
What?
Camera fell over.
Nice.
Look got a pop. Woo! Come on, eh?
Jeez. Woo! Winning colors, 49 shots times 2. Woo! Now we're talking. Like that. Wacky tobacco times 2. Other one's over there.
Patience, my young one. God, that's one of my favorite no apps. It's so high.
Oh my god.
Dude, that cake is insane.
That one's a little behind.
Yeah. Wow. There we go.
Now you guys are golden.
Nice. Here goes a bonus. 2 20-shot racks of ring shells. But are we going to see any rings?
Ooh, that do feel alright.
Oh, wait, that one's master.
No, there was 4 willow shells in this one.
Oh, okay. So these are both willow and ring shells. Little bonus for you.
Look at that. Look at
There's a nice ring. Woo!
Price those prices.
There's a nice ring. Oh, masters!
Ben, go light your master.
Woo! We got master 100s. Wow! Look at these things. Woo! Nice.